You might think trees are weak because their leaves fall off. You can break a stick off of them at any time. Squirrels just run up and down them.
Shh! Ladies, gentlemen, them, they, and all, it's showtime! Ha-ha! Although, when we do say showtime, we do use that term very loosely, as what we've got in store for you today, well, our presenters have really no idea what they're gonna say because they're all unprepared. So strap yourselves in and brace yourself as the Some Nobodies present PowerPoint Showdown. So start that round of applause as we welcome this week's keynote speaker.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for another conference. Now, tonight you're going to be hearing from 4 professionals discussing our topics, alternate Earth theories. Now, with me as always, we have Mirror Dylan. We also have Mr. Flat Earth Mike, and then special guest speaker tonight, you have Dr. Schrodinger Richard. And if it takes you as long as it did me to get that joke, then you're an idiot. Now, I'll be your keynote speaker. My name is Zack, and I'll be leading this conference. Now, for those who are joining us for the first time, each speaker will be given 10 minutes to present on our topic this week. Now, after every presentation, there'll be a short Q&A from the panel. And of course, we invite any members of the audience to ask any questions as well. And after the 4th presentation, the panelists will vote on which of the speakers will be awarded the $50,000 scholarship to Some Nobodies University and the Nostalgia Prize of the Week. Now, obviously, we have a beautiful Patreon member. Where did I put that package? We have beautiful Patreon members who send in some Nostalgia Prize. Oh, here it is. Let me just get this open. This prize actually sent in from Mr. Blue Flanagan. We have rival Patreon members like to fight each other. Let's see. Oh, weird. Okay. All right. I guess this is an 8-track of dueling banjos. Weird. I think I'll pass this right on to Dylan because I think he's learning how to play this song. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Blue Flanagan, for the Nostalgia Prize. And like I said, there's a $50,000 scholarship to Some Nobodies University, and that bank account is running dry quickly. Let's see. Now, before we get on with the presentation, there's actually a message from last week's winner. So if you could just bear with me for a second, let's see what they had to say. Here we go.
Michael Colby, Nostalgia Critic here. I am just making this to gloat from you losing PowerPoint Showdown again, man. What the hell? Like, what number of time is this you losing? I mean, it's like, are you trying? Are you trying at all? I don't even know what this is, and I won. I mean, that really takes talent for you to be this bad, for somebody to come in and just completely whoop your ass. I mean, just some nobody comes in and totally whoops your ass. And you're supposed to be the some nobody. You're all supposed to be some nobodies, but I'm a better some nobody than you because I don't even know what this game is, and I won. So get on your A game, man. Get on your aim game. I'm telling you, you gotta do better. You gotta do better. Next time we see each other, I'm gonna wait and see how you beat me after I see how this game is played. No. If I learn the rules, they'll just give you an advantage. So I'm not gonna learn anything about it. I'm still gonna beat you, man. That's how pretty bad you are. So sorry you suck.
And that goes on for another 20 minutes, so I'm just going to cut that off there because we got things to do.
Did you say aim game?
The aim game?
I think you said aim game. Whatever.
I think it was Marvel's End Game he was talking about. I'm not sure. Aim game? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Whatever. Okay, now we have a couple of dues, and we got to get without them. So we're going to go ahead and get on with the first presentation. So if we can just have the producers bring up my presentation about alternate Earth theories. Now, obviously, when it comes to alternate Earth theories, you're probably thinking to yourself, what does that mean? What is an alternate Earth? What is Earth? What's a theory? Well, we're going to get into most of that, if not all of that, probably some of it at least. Now, what I'm going to try to get to tonight is to really just get under your skin and let you know that you're being lied to. You are being lied to. Now, is it a TikTok trend? I have no idea yet, but all I know is that there's a lot of things that we can get to. You're being lied to. Next slide, please. Let me get on to exactly which lies we're talking about here. Now, I made this presentation at the at the cafe in the NASA headquarters without them noticing. They didn't know I was there. They didn't even know there was a cafe there, which is odd because you think they know a lot of stuff. But I was at the cafe. I was hijacking their Wi-Fi because I have a great VPN. And here's some things that I overheard. One, the Earth is flat. NASA is trying to lie to people. Now, they did snicker a couple times when they said it, and I don't know if they know that I was like listening to their conversation or not, but they definitely said that. They definitely said the Earth is flat. We're NASA, and we're trying to lie to people. They kept saying NASA, which is weird because they also work for NASA. But anyway, they also said, my feet, my running club needs a better name than Feet Ahead. And honestly, that's true. I don't know why they thought that was a good name when there's like one step for running kind. There's so many different cooler names out there, but Feet Ahead's not good. Also, they said, don't ask questions. What is this, Fight Club? And to that I said, under my breath, I'm like, I don't think this is a fight club. This is NASA. I know a lot about this. Also, that's not a very good movie. Now, here's some other lies you might have overheard in the NASA cafe. Process is the enemy of progress. Literally, I'm going to say that one more time just so you can understand that. Process is the enemy of progress. Just let that sink in there. Now, wow, that's deep. Who said that? I did just now. I said that. I thought I overheard it. Not sure about it. When I look back at my notes, that's what I wrote. Sounds smart. I probably said it. If I didn't say it, they said it. It was a lie because they're lying to us, except the flat earth part, I think. I'm not sure if I meant they're lying to us in general or they were lying to me specifically when I was at that cafe. All I know is somebody's lying. Someone is lying. Next slide, please. All right, now what you need to know before we start. Oh boy. Now, there's more elliptical things out there. There's also more spherical things out there. I tell you, I really should have been spell checking this because I think that they got some of these words wrong. Ellipticity. Bravo to me for making this. Now, we got some broiled tail hummingbirds here. We also got some melios. That's obviously one of the more elliptical egg shapes here. Now, when you think about different kinds of Earth, what is Earth really but just kind of I guess an egg of sorts, right? There's just things growing inside of it, on side of it, just like how eggs do. You also have olive back Orioles. Now, as a Maryland native, I know a lot about this kind of Earth. All I'm saying is there's a lot of things that you can do here. There could be oblong things depending on how fast the Earth is going to be going through space. Obviously, if they're flat, it's also a guitar pick. So who knows what any of this means. There's also the least sandpiper, which is probably my least favorite of the alternate Earth theories, other than the black-fronted. Okay. I should have expanded my screen here. Black-fronted dotterel. Now, of all the bird people that we found in all these different areas and all these different Earths, they were the nicest, I have to say, and they didn't lie to me at all. Next slide, please. Don't be sheep. People, I cannot express this enough. You think there's a plan out there for sheep? There might be. You're not on it right now. So why are you a sheep? Why are you trying to just eat up all the hay, which is the lies that NASA's trying to feed you? Unless you're in the cafe eating their hay burgers, then I think they're telling you the truth about it being flat. But all I really can say is don't be sheep. Please. Next slide, please. Now, how it started, easy peasy. That's an obvious one. A lot of people out there will tell you Big Bang. A lot of people tell you about the big snap, the big clap, the big quake, the big ripple, the triple ripple. There's a lot of things out there, but really, if you want to break it down, if you want to think about it as just a lobster popping a grape with two of its pincers, but guess what happened? It blew its fucking pincers right off. That's exactly how the Big Bang worked. It's just compressed shit in there, and then all of a sudden that shit's no longer compressed, it's expressed. Next slide, please. Planet Earth isn't real, everybody. I wish I could have said this in the beginning, but I'm glad I waited till right now to say it. Now, I took so much data on all these subjects. I sat in this cafe well until visiting hours were way over at NASA, which are zero. They don't allow visitors. I tried to say, hey, my mom is here. And they're like, that doesn't you still can't be here. And I took some data. Illuminati, maybe. Triangle Earth theory, maybe. All I'm saying is if you've heard it, it's probably a lie. Next slide, please. Now, we need we need some way to talk about the guy inside this box here. And honestly, if there's one thing that you need to take away from this presentation, it's this right here. Now, the guy inside the box is saying, I believe the earth is round. And I'm outside saying, we got to get this guy out of this box. And NASA's like, I'm a box. And I'm like, wait, what is happening here? Now, they're telling us we got to think about thinking outside the box. And they say, you think the earth is round? Think outside the box. But what they don't tell you is, what is the box? The box itself is NASA. How can we think outside the box when the box is telling us to think outside of itself? We need a way to get to talk to the guy inside the box. Next slide, please. So much clapping. Now, in conclusion, there's interests, there's data, there's a lot of different ways of breaking down all this. You could think about it in one way, like what is love? What is the earth if not love? Like, what is life if not admiration? What is it if it isn't compassion or sadness and guilt? So when you think about it, there's people out there that are living just full on existence of just straight sadness. Is that an earth? Is that their life? Prospectively, yeah, sure. So does that mean that there is a full-on world of just sadness? Yeah, of course it does. And if they have a world of sadness, and I have a world of shame, and Mere Dylan has a world of fear, and Flat Earth Michael has a world of straight-up disgust, you also have Dr. Schrodinger Dick over here in just his own world of just straight anger. To each of us, that's a world, which means that's not mine. That's alternate world theory. People, don't be sheep. And in conclusion, that's all I really got to say is that who are we to say who somebody else is, it inside or outside of that box that NASA has provided us to be into, and also talk to people inside of that box? Who are we, if not just fellows of our own planet? My name's Zack. That's all I really had to say about this. Thank you very much. I will literally take every single question that anyone has to offer. Flat Earth Mike, please.
Yeah. I really appreciate your box metaphor. Because NASA tries to tell us to think outside the box. But what is outside the box? It's flat. Just like the Earth. They don't want you to know that. But they're telling it to you in secret code.
Yep.
My question is, nothing. You did a great job.
Hell yeah. Well, honestly, to answer that, correct. Mere Dylan, I saw you had your hand up.
Yes, thanks for the presentation.
My pleasure.
I was wondering if you wouldn't mind justifying your use of the word planet on your final slide to describe the world in which you live.
If we got the producers, please bring up that last slide just so I can understand the question. Now, planet is a relative term. And when you think of relativity, there's a lot of things that's going to be zooming past you, which is why I put all these circles on here. Because this thing is zooming past you. There's a lot of information. Flip. Now, planet, Earth, island, individual, heart, they're all synonyms, buddy. It all means the same thing. Box, inside, outside. Come around.
Feels very spherocentric to me.
I'm sorry. Would you please repeat the question?
I was wondering if you could justify your use of the term planet to describe the world in which you live.
Oh, yeah. My answer stays.
Yeah, he's making perfect sense.
Hell yeah. Thank you, brother. Okay. We have any more questions out there? Let's see here.
Actually, yeah.
Sorry.
I've got one. Yeah. I was going to say I just got this question in my earpiece. So to find Narnia, should we be looking in boxes or in closets?
What is a closet but another box that just stuff stays upright? I mean, when you think about it, everything you deal with is a box. What's your couch? A box. It's a rectangle, probably. What's your house? A box. What's the doorway you walk through? Some sort of box, whether it's flat or not, who knows? So, yeah, you got to look at all boxes. If you're not opening up boxes and wondering what's inside of it and what kind of world you're going to find in there, my friend, you're not living on this earth or any earth. Now, I did see a question from Blue Shoe Nick. Blue Shoe Nick, wait a minute. Wait, so to find Narnia, should I be looking in... Huh. Well, that's interesting. I believe I just answered that.
Yeah.
Well done.
Excellent. Okay, well, I just want to thank everyone for listening to my my presentation on alternate Earths and how I am 100% sure we're being lied to due to a happenstance of me overhearing something in a NASA cafe. Now, I just want to thank myself for spending the time here to give that presentation. Now, we do have a very special guest. We have Mr. Schrodinger Richard, and he's going to be talking about... Oh. My bad. Producer's got the wrong slide up.
Uh-oh. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Yes, I will be speaking on the topic of alternative Earth theories. I have one of my own, and I rather enjoy it, so that is what I'm going to be talking about, rather than, pandering to the populace. So if we could go ahead and go to the next slide and start this presentation. Perfect. Just the way I'd like to start it, with a pie chart. I love pie, and this pie chart represents the kind of people who also enjoy pie. It is a pie chart of people who enjoy pie. Now, as you can see, there are many different aspects to pie itself, which is very much like the different aspects of Earth. And in this regard, I mean Earth as in all of its forms. You see, I am likened to believe that there is more than one Earth out there. Every choice that we make creates a new Earth, which is much like a pie chart. Every new choice creates a new slice of pie. So if I were to disrespect authority, that would create a whole new Earth of where I am probably a rebellious or in prison, hanging out, being a prisoner and trading toilet paper for favors. Now, we also have God or something like that, which, if you recall, when God created heaven and earth, it was widely regarded as one of the worst decisions in history. So with that being said, we will travel to the next slide. Wonderful. Now, to kind of go against what my predecessor Zack was talking about with NASA lying, we're going to talk about why the truth matters. Why don't we just tell lies all the time? Well, you see, every lie that we tell creates a new Earth, and eventually there will be so many new Earths that we won't all fit within our Earth container. Now, this is widely known amongst everybody in NASA that the container only holds so many Earths. Now, we may not know exactly what that number is. We do know that we are getting close. So the question we really need to be asking ourselves is not where is the box or why is the box, but rather how is the box? Okay. Yes. Next slide, please. Yes. One of my favorite theories here is the marble planet theory. Now, this is kind of like the ending to the film Men in Black. I don't know if you have seen that or not. It's a wonderful film. You should probably go see that before I continue explaining that aspect of this slide. Otherwise, it just won't make sense. However, Earth is a marble on a giant table. It is not a globe. So let's stop saying that, okay? It's not a globe. As we saw in the previous presentation, this is an ellipticity. The Earth is actually more of a oval shape. And the farther away from the core Earth we get, the more elliptical it becomes, much like gym equipment. Now, the world is definitely a marble. And as you all know, marbles were created as a children's game. And in this game, God plays for keeps. All right, let's continue to the next slide. Now, this one is a little bit far-fetched for me. I'm not sure how much I believe it per se, but we'll talk about it anyway. It is the donut Earth theory. Now, this one is prescribed to mostly by law enforcement, so take it with a grain of salt. You know, a lot of times they can be a little aggressive about how they present this, but basically what they believe is that the Earth is like a big, crueler donut. They're okay. I feel like Boston creams are better, but to each their own. It is round, but not like a globe. So sort of flat, but thick with 2 C's. Now, unlucky number 13, that is God's baker's dozen. Number 13. That poor donut Earth is that one with no flavor, no glaze, no options, and it just kind of sits in the back and everybody thinks about eating it, but it gets all crusty before anyone finally does because you say, all right, you know what, whatever, I forgot lunch, I'm going to grab it. It is what it is, and then you go to get it and you realize this Earth is dried up and worthless. So I think I've made my point on that. We'll head over to the next slide. Now, this one is a widely regarded in the upper echelons of society called the Fiat Earth theory. Now, if you have been paying attention in the local news with the clock application, there is a song in which a rapper speaks about being 6'4" in a Fiat. Now, this planet is a reliable sedan, meaning that it's going to get you where you need to go. Italian manufacturing means that the Earth goes vroom, which is great until it runs out of gas and you realize that you've been polluting space and should have gone electric. But that's neither here nor there. We are all God's children, and he left us in this very hot car. I mean, look at the way things have been going since 2020. This has been the hottest, crappiest car we've ever existed in. And it's only getting worse. So come on, God, roll down the windows already. Somebody call the cops, bust one out, something. Hey, bada bing, you know what I'm saying? All right, next slide, please. Now, this one is, you know, a bit out there. It's very capricious in nature. It is the cat Earth theory. Now, what these people believe is that the continents, much like the constellations in the space, are continents of in a giant cat. Now, the giant cat plays with Australia, which is extremely dangerous because everyone knows that everything in Australia wants to kill you. That is why ASMR is highly sought after in Australia as a coping mechanism, and death being the ultimate and only release from the Australian death pit. However, this cat is brave. It takes on its role as a protector and also a playful friend to such a dangerous continent. Let's move over to the next slide, please. So in conclusion, Earth. Thank you. I will be taking questions. Yes, Zack?
Thank you very much for this presentation. I was curious about the baker's dozen Earth theory, and you summed that up pretty well. I did have a question. At one point, you did mention Men in Black, and
yes,
the neuralizers that they use in that movie, does that like take all of your memory out, or could you somehow select what memories get taken out in the neuralizer in Men in Black?
Now, that is a very, very good question. I would say that it would depend on which Earth and which Earth theory you subscribe to. Now, I'm not saying aliens, but aliens.
Okay.
Yes, Flat Earth Mike.
Yeah, you had some ludicrous ideas that I heard in here. The Earth being a fucking donut or a Fiat. Everybody knows the only thing that you can trust in this entire world isn't science, it's your own eyes. And you can't see with your own eyes that the Earth is a donut or the Earth is a car. How could you put up these theories? These are ridiculous. Everybody, you can see that the Earth is flat with your eyes. You can't see that the Earth is a donut with your eyes. Where do you come up with this stuff?
Well, as I explained in the presentation here, these are theories all across the universe. From many different Earths, we've compiled these different theories. I'm not saying that they are specifically mine. However, I will say that, I mean, is the Earth flat? I mean, if the Earth was flat, we wouldn't have hills or mountains. I mean, that makes it obviously not flat. I mean, I have not witnessed the Earth in its entirety to be flat. I agree with you. I have not witnessed it to be a donut either. However, I feel that because of this, we don't really know whether the Earth is flat or a donut. Yes, Mirror Dylan.
Thank you for the presentation. You just said that you collected these theories from around the Earth. Does the form of the Earth affect the quality of the theories, and which Earth did you collect them from?
Ooh.
We actually collected from different Earths, as you may have known or heard, when the Weasel created an issue with the CERN Large Hadron Collider back in 2016, we were actually able to reach out to these alternative Earths and gather this information, much like a census.
Nice.
Okay.
Yes, Zach.
So in Men in Black, if you use a neuralizer, if you don't have good vision, does that still work on? Like, does the neuralizer still work if you can't see?
Interesting question. I would say that in my own personal beliefs that that has nothing to do with alternative Earths in general. So I don't really have a stance on that. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Mirror Dylan, yes.
A question just occurred to me. Why is a baker's dozen 13?
Well, you see, this actually goes back to the Dark Ages when people were very uneducated and really didn't know how to count very well. They actually thought that 10 bakers, being 2 hands, was the number 13. And unfortunately, as we all know today, that is only partially correct.
All right. That's whack.
Yeah, it is pretty whack. We do have a question from the audience. Let's see. Blue Shoe Nick says, Dr. Dinger, if the world is a marble, do we coexist in a being's cognition? Also, what happens when that being loses their marbles?
See, now this is a whole nother theory that I wasn't able to touch on, but yes, you are speaking of the metaphorical or metaphysical marbles. And yes, if a being does in fact lose their marbles and we are such marble, I believe that yes, we would in fact be lost. So that is
Excellent.
very, very,
Okay.
very good. It's a good question. Thank you.
Well, that is perfect. Excellent. Dr. Richard, thank you very much for your time and your expertise at all things alternative and also Earth and some things that are Men in Black related. We do have a couple more adieus, but without some of them, let's get on to Mr. Flat Earth Mike. Pretty please, Flat Earth Mike, if we can bring up, let's see here.
All right. Thank you for coming to my presentation today. It's on terra firma, yours, mine, ours. Terra firma means flat ground, as everyone knows. And there's nothing on the earth, the hills you can see with your eyes, the mountains you can see. That doesn't mean that the plane that the hills and the mountains are on isn't flat ground or terra firma. So can we start our presentation? Next slide, please. I don't know why I would have put maybe it is flat, because it definitely is flat, because you can see that it's flat. You can't see the Earth's curvature. That's crazy. That's a crazy thing that insane people think. Look, if you look at a person, they look flat. If you look at a fish, flat. Eggs, flat. Toast, flat. Everything relatively flat. People have a little bit of depth to them. A fish has a little bit of depth, but for the most part, flat. Just like the hills and the mountains and the rivers and the canyons. It's a little bit of depth on something that's flat. Next slide, please. Terra solida. Maybe it's firm and solid. It's flat, it's firm, it's solid. Just like when I took that experimental medication from Guadalajara, and my penis became like that. It was firm and solid and flat. Luckily, we were able to get it fixed, but next slide, please. Now, just like a rock or a 20-sided die or an overcooked hard-boiled egg, these things are solid, right? Now, the rocks are solid. You can't change the way that the rocks are because they're solid. You can't change a 20-sided die, a dodecahedron. You can't change the way that a hard-boiled egg, if you boil an egg hard enough, it is too solid for you to change the way that it is. Just like the earth is flat with a little bit of depth, these things are flat with a little bit of depth. If you get the rocks wet enough, like when the flood of Noah happened and the rocks got wet and then they were malleable and you could turn them into mountains. That's the way that the earth got its depth. You could take the rain, the water from the flood, and within a week it could cut out a Grand Canyon somewhere in Arizona, I think. I don't fucking know. I've never been there. But it's just mind-blowing that people don't understand this stuff. Maybe it's solid. Of course it's solid. But anything that's solid can be made malleable with enough water. Anything. Next slide, please. Now, can it be firm and empty and solid and flat? Terra in anus. Terra anus. Terra in anus. I can tell you from my Guadalajara incident, a firm, flat thing in anus is not pleasurable for anyone involved. But I did become empty afterwards. Next slide, please. Now, maybe the earth is empty. We don't know. We haven't been more than 7.5 miles into the ground. We don't know. Maybe if you went 3 more feet, you could get all the way through the earth and get back out into space, which doesn't exist because it's just water outside of the dome that surrounds the earth. So if you would drill another couple feet, maybe you would unleash the water from Noah's flood back up into the earth. But God's not going to let us do that, because he promised with the rainbow that he would never again kill everyone on the earth with another flood. So I forget what I was saying here. Next slide, please. Terra globus caverna. Can it be overcooked donut? As you know, I do not believe that the earth is a donut. But if you cook a donut enough, it's so solid that it can't be changed. You can't change the way that an overcooked donut is unless you add all of the water from inside the outside of the dome where the water comes from. That's where the water lives. We're in a giant bowl inside a dome on the flat earth that has an 8-mile crust. And if we dig through that crust, the water will come up and everything that's hard will become soft. And then we can reform the entire earth. Next slide, please. In conclusion, you can email me for more Latin. All you have to do is email flatearthmike@flat.earth. And I have a newsletter that you can subscribe to. I have a YouTube channel telling you everything you need to know about the earth. I have recipes for Fosnauts. I have a place in Guadalajara where you can get the thing that makes your penis flat and stiff. I mean, it's so stiff. You cannot stop it from being stiff. And just because it's stiff and flat and not pleasurable for anyone, it still stays stiff for so long. I don't know why it flattens it. I wish I could stop talking about my penis. But this picture is sort of what it looked like. So email me. It's all in the newsletter that you get when you start signing up for my newsletter. So that concludes my presentation. I'm going to ask for questions, but I would really like it. I saw some of your faces during my presentation. I'm going to ask that you keep it civil. Yeah, Zack.
Now, you were very clear about this procedure you had to flatten and harden your penis. And I was curious because it seemed like you were not happy with the fact that your penis was flat. And in fact, you wished that it had been round. Is that true?
Yeah, it was not a procedure. It was a medication.
Oh, but true, you would prefer it round than flat because that is better, at least for penis functions, what you would like.
Well, yes. And
Okay.
I did get it fixed so that it was spherical again. Like a normal penis is spherical. So I got it fixed, but yeah, I mean, of course I would prefer it to be a sphere. Who wouldn't? But it was flat. That's just the way it is. Just like the earth. It would probably be better if it was a sphere, but it's not. It's flat, and I can see that it's flat. I can see, a mile away from where I am, so that proves that the earth is flat. Yes, Mirror Dylan.
Thank you for the presentation. You spoke about terra firma, terra solida, terra donut. Can you explain briefly why you believe terra firma, the firma, the beta?
I absolutely never said that. I can't believe that you wasted my time just to put out such a bad, terrible joke.
Yep.
I
agree.
I'm
Unbelievable.
not calling on you ever again.
This is why
No.
Tara doesn't call you.
Boo.
Or it's because of your flat penis.
Tara is the one that was in anus with my flat penis.
I don't want to ask
Dr.
more
Schrodinger.
Yeah, so you were talking about how the Earth is flat with a little bit of thickness. So could it theoretically, actually, you know what? I'm going to preface this with that it's a two-part question. So could you say that possibly there is a flat bread Earth theory?
We don't deal with theories around here. We only deal with facts. Facts that we can see with the only scientific instrument that matters, the human eye. The human eye that God provided us. He made these eyes so that we could see things. And if he wanted us to see out into outer space or anywhere else, he would have given us telescope eyes.
Yeah.
But instead, we use the tools that God gave us to tell you the facts. We don't deal with theories. We only deal with facts. My penis is flat. The Earth is flat. Normal penises are spheres. And and those are just the facts. Those are just the facts that we live by.
Wonderful. Actually, that kind of leads into my follow-up. My second part of the question is, would it be possible to get that number to the doctor in Guadalajara?
All you have to do,
science.
My newsletter is free. You don't have to pay for it. All of that information is in the newsletter.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Zack.
Yes, earlier you spoke on Noah's flooding waters while also saying that the space itself was just water and that the flat Earth, I think, is a square and is also surrounded by a dome.
Yes. A square dome.
So the dome was there before Noah was there. Did Noah open the dome to let the floods in? Or was that a different...
No. God opened the dome to let the water in. Noah didn't cause the flood. He just knew that the flood was going to happen. He was prepared for the flood. God's the one who opened the dome. And as everyone knows, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, there's a giant cork. And once the flood was over, God pulled that cork, let the water go. Back out into the bowl that is outer space outside of the square dome.
Okay, well, that's perfect. Well, if there's no more questions from the panel, we do have one from the audience. Blue Shoe Nick would like to know, does your toast comparison give us insight into why Michael Jackson's constantly told us to jam on it while stomping on the floor?
Michael Jackson was not only a known flat earther, he was not only a known pedophile, but he was also a known hater of toast. He couldn't stand the stuff. So anytime he saw somebody making some toast, he would throw it on the ground and he said, "This is the only jam that you deserve, toast." And then he would stomp on it. I don't know what that has to do with... I'm absolutely not Michael Jackson. I don't know what that has to do with the Earth being flat. If you put enough water on the toast, maybe it wouldn't get squished like it normally does. Maybe you could form it into the shape of your foot or something. But Blue Shoe Nick, as normal, just ridiculous questions from a ridiculous person. I don't even know. I think we should ban him from Twitch.
I concur. I don't even know what Twitch is, but let's ban him. Okay, so thank you very much, Flat Earth Mike, for that riveting tale of whether or not things are flat. Thank you for putting together so many slides asking if they're flat and then very clearly saying no, they're flat. Mirror Dylan, he's up next, and he's got a pretty interesting theory.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit. I know we've heard a lot of things tonight. I know there's a lot of information to process. I've got one more for you, and I hope that you stick around because I think it's going to really open some eyes on a figurative sense, and for some of you who might have grown bored in a literal sense. We're going to talk today about Earths, Earthitis, all the Earths I could find. And I wanted to, Earths come in many forms. They're all beautiful. They're all valid. And we're going to talk on just a few of them that I've discovered today. So let's go to the next slide and get started, shall we? Now, how I found these first 3 Earths. There were a few primary methods that I took to heart. The first was CB radio. That is cosmic background radio. You might hear scientists refer to it as CBR. They are not referring to the sandwich, the chicken bacon ranch, just as cosmic background radio. It is how scientists pick up communications from other planets. So they listen really hard to the radios when they're out in the mountains, and they get in a little van and they camp out. And they listen and see if they can hear stuff from people from other planets. And you can tell they're from other planets because they sound strange. That was one method that I used. I went out into the mountains with my van and I listened to the CBR while eating a CBR. One was a really old Sony Ericsson. I believe that's a Walkman. I'm getting it's a boombox.
I think it's a cell phone.
It's I believe it's a portable cellular phone. But similar to those antenna, you take it into the mountains and it's powerful enough back before they limited cell phone use because the government didn't want us discovering other Earths that you can pick up the CBR on your old Sony Ericsson. And then, of course, we all have to make sacrifices for our science. I had to trade my family's prized magic squirrel stud to obtain a magic telescope, which I used to look out into space and find the third other Earth. We'll get into what exactly that means, maybe later in this presentation. Let's go to the next slide, please. I'm going to talk briefly about Earth 9927, Ubot Nifty. When I discovered all of these alternate Earths, I used kind of just an arbitrary number system. I wanted to have enough options that I wouldn't run out too soon because the minute I got that Ericsson and I got the old pre-regulation cell phone antenna, I was picking up CBR you wouldn't believe, and I gained a lot of weight from all the CBRs I ate. And so I chose, you have the permutations. You use 4 numbers, and that gives you a whole lot of options for naming things. And I just started naming them as well, and I thought, ooh, bot, nifty. I was like, all right, yeah, Earth 9927. It's farther enough back from 9999 that someone who's just going back through all of them won't find it immediately. And of course, we'll get up talking about that in just a little bit. And then I had a buddy of mine, I commissioned him for way too much money to paint this little scene that I imagine takes place on Ubot Nifty Earth 9927. Now tell me, you see the ooh? Yeah, there's a bot there, and I think that bot's pretty nifty. Let's go to the next slide. Follow this up with Earth 369, Damn Thang Fawin. Now, due to copyright legislation and intellectual property rights, I couldn't say the lyrics to the song that is going through all of your heads right now. So I found this picture of a sexy bald alien, and I was thinking, damn, that's fine. Hence, Earth 369. I don't know that I have much else to say on this, except I wish that I had gotten a higher resolution image. Let's go to the next slide, please. I guess I should have started at the start. My travels into alternate Earth theory started when I found Earth 2, which was, of course, Discovery 1 in my journal, which was on page 6 because the first 5 pages had been orders for different sandwich places where I was trying to get different types of CBRs to test the quality of the sandwiches in my hometown. And while I was doing that, I misdialed the number and I must have done something wrong because I ordered a sandwich from Earth 2 and it definitely wasn't chicken bacon ranch. I'm not sure exactly what it was. But we got talking. I called the number back. They called me back. We star 69'd a little bit. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's get this discovery thing going. Let's see how many alternate Earths there are. And so I started keeping a little journal. I've got it like right here. It's got a little happy cloud on the front. It's where I record all of my Earth discoveries. It's getting pretty full in there. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, you can do this too. I guess the point of this presentation is just to show that anybody can do this. All you need to do is like find an old Sony Ericsson and get them on eBay for like $30. It's pretty cheap. They still work with modern plans, which is really weird. And I mean, who knows? When you discover a different Earth and you discover my Earth too, which might be your Discovery 45, you can name it something else. I don't know that they're codifying this yet. But I should probably get on that actually. I might need to register some of this, like the old explorers did. But let's explore the next slide. Yeah, nice. Okay, so this is Earth 69. I was careful about this. I know I said I didn't officially catalog any of these. But as far as I know, I'm the only one who is actively looking at other Earths. I know a lot of people are very committed to the one they're currently standing on, but I am just a big fan of Earthical non-monogamy, which, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But I found, my sixth discovery was Earth 69, and I'm like, oh, okay, nice. And so I used my Ericsson's antenna to burn the words "don't rename" onto the planet's surface. I did unfortunately hit a lot of their civilization, which uprooted some of their plants, and the trauma made them like dye their hair and their skin different colors. And I mean, shit happens, But yeah, that's Earth 69, and I would please ask anyone else who finds Earth 69 to look carefully for the words "don't rename" and don't rename it. When we establish our alternate Earth database, I'll have that officially named. But until then, it's just going to have to do for now. Let's go to the next slide, please. Let's see. I wanted to talk about Earth 187, New World Arrive, because this one was populated entirely by glowy-eyed statues, which I just think is really neat. I mean, you don't see that very often here. I think statues are kind of like a culture's investment in long-term existence. When cultures start making statues, I feel like they are starting to invest in having something being around for a long time. Roman statues are still around. Greek statues. You have those old like Mongolian steppe statues down in Africa on the pyramids and stuff like that. So I'm like, what made this planet last so long? I don't know. I only saw it. I couldn't talk to them. They were out of range of even my Ericsson. But they have like a gear on there too. So that's kind of neat. Yeah, Earth 187. It's just pretty neat. I think that's probably going to be their tagline in the little catalog I put together. Earth 187. New World Arrive. Pretty neat. Let's go to the next slide. In conclusion, obviously, like all these other Earths are populated by humanoids. It's kind of like that multiverse idea where everything is a little different, but very recognizable. And as you can see here, this is a picture that I took with the camera on my Sony Ericsson. Yeah. They had actually seen American Gothic, and so they posed for me. It took a long time to get their signal back and forth. But, I think it came out really nice. He kind of looks like Eddie Izzard, and she kind of looks like Natasha Lyonne, maybe, a little bit. I think Natasha Lyonne has better hair. But I mean, there's only so much you can do when you don't have conditioner in outer space. You can very clearly see that they're big fans of like spidery mascara, though, and gold chains.
Sick.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I wonder if their wallet has a chain on it too, but that's something to figure out once we can actually go there. So yeah, I think that wraps up my presentation on just some of these cool other like Earths that I found while looking through my telescope that I traded my squirrel stud for. Yeah, thanks. And I'll take questions. Let's hear them. Flat Earth Michael, what do you got?
I have two questions. That last picture that you showed us, what Earth exactly is those aliens from? Because I would like to Earth 69 them, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean, first I do want to say I'd be cautious of using our terminology for other Earths when you're talking to citizens from other Earths. They no doubt have their own catalog systems. So just keep an eye out on that. Those folks are actually from Earth Claude. I didn't use a number for that. I just wanted to name it something kind of goofy because they have funny styles, and I think Claude is an interesting name for things. So if you want to go 69 some aliens, or 696, because there are 3 of you, they'd probably be down.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like we said, ethical non-monogamy.
I love it. Now, my other question had to
Mhm.
do with the CBRs. Now, I also have eaten a lot of CBRs because at first I thought that they were healthy because of the chicken. I didn't take into account how many calories and how much fat bacon has, and the ranch just has
Mhm.
so many calories, so many trans fats in
Mhm.
it. Um, have you found a healthier option to a CBR, something that tastes almost as good, but maybe with not quite so much calories because I can't even see my flat penis over my man titties
Yeah.
anymore.
God.
No, that's an issue I was starting to run into after having so many CBRs. But I mean, I've tried alternatives. I've tried turkey bacon and ranch. I've tried chicken bacon and ranch. I've tried turkey clubs. I've tried veggie hummus wraps. I've tried turning it into a salad using a lettuce wrap instead of a bun. Honestly, I think the best advice I can give is just have less of them.
Yeah.
Treat yourself, but like, I mean, not to the point where you can't see your weird little flat dick.
Thank you. You answered both of my questions perfectly.
Excellent. Let's hear from Zach.
In your travels, where did you find actually had the best chicken bacon ranch? Because I've tried to find a couple places around here, and they've just been pretty lackluster no matter what I've been looking for.
It was my grandma, actually. They lived on a farm, made the bread by hand. Did use Hidden Valley Ranch. I'm not sponsored by them, but I do say that it's probably the best store-bought version you can find right now.
Yeah.
Heritage chicken. I'm sorry I can't give you too many specifics, but
Yeah.
just a real quality sandwich out there.
No, I appreciate
Second
that.
place is Arby's.
Excellent. Thank you.
Very, very narrow margin. It was very close.
Arby's
My
CBR.
grandma slipped a 10 into my pocket when I left, so that was the deciding factor.
Arby's
When
has very underrated CBRs.
Yeah,
Your,
they're called a CBRB.
your grandmother slipped you a 10 when you left an Arby's?
We went to Arby's together. Yeah, she reimbursed me.
Oh, nice. Do we
right.
have any more questions on the panel? Okay, we do have a couple questions from the audience. Let's see. Simon Vanderblam would like to know, how do you star 69 a little bit? That's actually a pretty good question.
It's not bad, actually.
You said you were star 69 and back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
Please speak on that.
It's like a star 6. It's like a star 70, but you do a little less of it.
Oh,
Or it's like a
okay.
really heavy star 68.
See, I was under the impression star 69 was when you called a number to find out what number called you.
Oh, I've been using it incorrectly a long time then.
Yeah, you're using the term
Ooh.
Earth 69.
Maybe that's why my
incorrectly as well.
grandma slipped me a 10.
You really should not star 69 her. Okay, also, Blue Shoe Nick would like to know, should we worry about fatal aggression from Earth 187, or will Earth 69 turn things upside down for them?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa,
okay.
wow. This is clever writing from Blue Shoe Nick.
Yeah. No, I don't think we need to worry about fatal aggression.
Okay, that is a fast answer. Okay, everyone, that seems like that is 100% of our presentations tonight, and I'm super excited. Thank you very much, Mirror Dylan, Flat Earth Mike, and Dr. Schrodinger Richard for all the knowledge. I love learning brand new things, especially when they're nowhere near true. Now, let's see here. Now, the presentations are all given. Now, each member of the panel will indicate which speaker they believe deserves to win the $50,000 grant awarded by Some Nobodies Patreon account. And also the collector's nostalgia prize sent in by Mr. Blue Flanagan. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to count to 3, and on the third number that I say out loud, will people pretty please hold up a finger to indicate which presentation they feel won tonight's alternative Earth theory. Now, I will be number 1. Dr. Schrodinger Richard will be number 2. We have Flat Earth Mike in number 3, and Mir Dylan. So please, 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. It looks like Flat Earth Mike has taken it finally with his convincing tale of whether or not the Earth is not a donut. And it
I can't
apparently...
wait to not have to watch another celebrity talk shit on me next week.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we don't record these in the exact order, so you never really know what happens. Now, that's going to conclude our conference for the week. Now, please, Flat Earth Mike, you're the winner. Will you please tell us what our topic of next week's conference is going to be?
Knitting. It's not just for grandmas anymore.
Perfect. Tune in next week and find out whether or not knitting is or is not just for grandmothers anymore. Flat Earth Mike will tell you, probably not. Now, my name is Zack, and my payment for doing this is to make someone give us our new outgoing slogan. So, Dr. Schrodinger Richard, please tell us PowerPoint Showdown's outgoing slogan.
Flat dick in a box. Is it alive or dead?
Flat dick in a box. Is it alive or is it dead? Now, final thanks to each of our panelists, starting with Flat Earth Mike. Flat Earth Mike, where can people find your crazy rants?
Well, you can only find my crazy rants here. But my less crazy rants are at No Time to Binge, an award-winning pop culture show of the year, podcast of the year, and comedy show of the year from the Scene Snobs Awards. That's where you can find my slightly less crazy rants. And then I don't rant, but I am crazy on Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex, which is on the Pod Moth Network. A bunch of great shows there, but we're the only actual good one on there because as we say, Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex is the only good podcast.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that before. Mira Dillon, where can people see your face?
Yeah, you can find me on everything Some Nobodies does. Twitching upstream, talking upstream, a podcast show, CYOP Appeal, Silicon Angels, No Time to Binge, the award-winning pop culture award-winning interview award. No, not the interview one. I think that's it. All those shows. And here. Like and subscribe and leave a comment.
Hell yeah.
Or something.
Dr. Schrodinger Richard.
So I'm better known as Leo. You can find me on Facebook as Leo Effects. I also do 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday nights. I'm a cast member of Shattered Dungeons, hosted by Shattered Tabletop Games. There we go. And then if you look on TikTok and all those other silly apps and social medias under Goat Gaming Syndicate, I am like the head honcho, I guess. I don't know. I'm just an elected official. But yeah, follow us on there for like lots of D&D content and Firefly, Aliens, all kinds of different tabletop games.
No, that's awesome. You can find all those show notes to everything that is the Leo Effects in the links to everything on the show notes below. So if you're listening to this or watching this later on, please go check out all that stuff because it is awesome. You can find me everywhere you find Mr. Dylan Terry, aka Mira Dillon. And until next time, folks, flat dick in a box. Is it alive or is it dead? See you next week.
Damn squirrels. They climb up the trees. They eat all the birds' food. Those goddamn... No matter what I do with these squirrels, I put those feeders on that spin them around and throw them off. They're just back up on the thing. I can't get rid...
Thank you for watching PowerPoint Showdown. Today's winner will receive a $50,000 grant courtesy of Some Nobodies Patreon. Congratulations on your win! Join us next week for another showdown. Thanks for providing that big prize, guys.